During this talk, I will start talking about the journey of a PhD students and also the supervisor, what supervisors expect from the student and what student has to expect from the supervisor. So I will just talk both the sides, and then I will allow more time to question Q&A sessions. Okay, so without any further ado, let me pass on to the slide, please. Yeah. So a brief introduction about myself. So I'm coming from a lower middle class family, studied in government school with limited or no facility in Chennai and Tamil Nadu, and and sometimes we studied without any teacher as well. So that type of a school we were came through. So it's all completely self-made, and we need to have. And did my bachelor's in physics, master's in physics. Then 2 years I worked as a research engineer. Then I did PhD in nanomaterials at University of Newcastle upon Tyne in UK through a scholarship scheme called Overseas Research Scholarships, and also I also got another scholarships called International Research Scholarship. So these two scholarships that covered my studies, and that there are lots of turning point happened in the studies. I finished a PhD in 2.5 years. Probably that is the record time I set actually in the Newcastle, but published about 10 journal articles and one in one of the premier journal called Nature, which is the best in the science and technology, etc. And also we patented our own material. So it's a good journey. Then later moved on to postdoctoral research in Trinity College, Dublin, DCU, etc. Then lecturer in Open University. I also got an offer in Cambridge, but apparently due to visa restrictions, I couldn't take it. Then lecturer in Cambridge, senior lecturer in again, and then now it's a full professor and chair. So probably I'm one of the youngest professor in Open University as well as such. So that is about myself. And yeah, so some of the key moments during this journey is like our group, we are, as Louis nicely put, we are target oriented because we need to be strategic in what we are doing. And the group which we are working is a socially oriented research that has direct benefit to society. So we work on both cutting edge science and also cutting edge technology, but how this cutting edge technology can directly feed into societal benefits. And then that is a part of this talk is part of about how we can do the knowledge sharing and knowledge contribution. So that has resulted in our project has been selected as the best project in UK India forum of UK India research initiative, which was given by Theresa May and Narendra Modi way back in 2016. Then the other middle is when I was been invited by President of India to discuss about the nano initiatives way back in 2006. And the last one is I'm also a visiting scientist at NASA Ames lab. So that's all of the key moments. We have several other key moments because every student is precious for me. So they are the one who is doing the work and putting our ideas into practice and coming up with more their initiatives, right? Um, choosing a Actually, most of the PhD students, this is very important for aspiring masters and PhD students. It's not only you is important. Of course, you are important, but you also need to know the supervisor is also important. You need to pick the right supervisor. If you don't pick the right supervisor, you will end up in a different plane. You may finish your PhD, but picking a right supervisor is important. I will tell you how to pick the right supervisor, and I will also tell you about what supervisor wants to see from aspiring student, and what are all the do's and don'ts. Maybe I will leave the do's and don'ts open so that you may ask me the questions. Okay, choosing a PhD supervisor is very, very important, and it's time consuming. How do I choose a PhD supervisor? People may ask this question all the time. How do I choose? So, okay, it is very simple. How do you choose the course? You choose the course because you like this course to do. If I'm doing the physics or chemistry, because I am passionate towards it. Say similarly, for the PhD work on the supervision or the research theme, identify these are all when I was looking at it, what I can present, I saw that there are 5 critical themes one master's and PhD student should look into a supervisor? A, research expertise. What is his research expertise? Is he doing cutting edge research? Or is he doing a research that is blue sky research? Will I be fit into it? That we need to do. What is the current research is doing? His research expertise, his current research. And I'm talking about his, I shouldn't use the gender here, sorry. So research expertise, current research, supervision experience, and students' feedback and personality. So this whole thing, Pandora, comprises of the supervision qualities. So let me take research expertise as the first slide. Go on, please. Research expertise. So this is one of the very critical thing the aspiring PhD student should look for. That amount of sustainable research over a period of time, whether the supervisor has been doing. Okay, if he or she is doing, if the supervisor is doing sustainable research, are they garnering enough funds to do the sustainable research? So if you know all these things, then you know that the person is very highly research active, and the person wants to do something different. Okay, so there are lots of people do open the positions for studentships, but you need to be very careful in choosing, because in the end, it is your career. It is not the supervisor's career. It is your career, because once you do PhD, you need to go with good outputs, and that outputs is the only thing that defines the trajectory of your career. That is more important. Not just doing PhD. Not just doing PhD is not at all. For that, you can do some other thing. You need to be passionate and correct, choose the right supervisor. And then when you, everybody has some passion in them in terms of research, and then they might have been thinking about it, why I should not do this, why I should, whether your research interest should match with the supervisor's expertise. Is it exactly matching? Oh yeah, this is the area. Say for example, in the case of uh, a student, like I'm working on wastewater treatment, and some people were, oh yeah, I really like this. I also work with materials, and then I also like the work with this particular supervisor because he's working exactly what I wanted to do. Okay, I'm working on wastewater treatment, on materials for wastewater treatment, and you also come and sing to each other, show your interest, and then your capability, etc. Then you started thinking of how to frame the project. And always remember, PhD is an original work. You can say that your interest and my interest are matching, but in the end, the idea has to come from you, and it has to be original. It should not be incremental. It has to be original, and it has to be done by you with significant novelty. So we have to class ourselves really high. Then only we can achieve what we can do. Okay. And then what you look for again in the PhD supervisor to be expertise. So all you need is to be supervised steer. So you may be going in this direction, that direction, then suddenly supervisor will call you, no, stop. I don't think you should do this. So move away from this. So you need to have the supervisor. If you're looking for a supervisor, the supervisor should have time to work with you and steer in the directions. Okay, and I will tell you how to find out all these things. And then consistency in metrics. Metrics is important in terms of publications, patents, press reports, outreach activities, etc. These compresses of a good quality supervisor. He's continuously updating his knowledge and know the supervisor well. For example, university websites, simple internet search, monitoring. So these are all very important for you to understand what PhD supervisors is about. A supervisor is about. So you will be, when you started looking at what are the publications and the quality he is generating, then you will know what is his current research expertise and where he is publishing these journal pay articles and why he is publishing journal articles. So those things you need to know. All I am saying is preparation and preparation and preparation is very important before you apply. You cannot just copy and paste other people's CV and then format it and then other people email. No, PhD has to come from you. It is an investment you are making. It's a process, and for those process to happen, preparation is very, very, very important. You have to prepare for one application, job application, I spend at least 3 to 4 days of preparing the application itself if I'm applying for a job, because I wanted to hit every single thing what they're asking for. Then only they will come and employ me. Else I wouldn't be employed. So you have to spend time in understanding supervisors' needs, etc., and then you apply for a position. Current research. So know about the current research. So supervisors, maybe you may be able to get the previous interest of the supervisor, but the previous interest will not be the best guide. Always check with the supervisors with your interest and how it matches with the supervisors. You can also check, they can send an email. I'll tell you how to send a right email as well. I think that's one of the question Luis asked me to address, how to send a right email and messages to be clear. So I'll cover that. So that is very important to attract the supervisors knowledge. Can you go back please? And then there could be, see, I am looking for a, even though I worked on a past research project, say for example in my case, um, during my PhD days, I invented a new material called gold nitride. But that time, I after my PhD I stopped working on that. Okay, but I had the ideas because I wanted to move my area, so that I wanted to broaden the horizon. But that doesn't mean that I may not be interested in working. If get a right student to work on that particular area, showing the right enthusiasm and methodology, I will work. To be honest, I think last week or week before, I was in the lab making the sample myself because I wanted to do this.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I wanted to do this because that is the passion. Okay, so if I get the right student, even though I published that about like 10 years back, but I'm yeah, 10 or 15 years back, still I would be interested in doing it. All I am looking at the right student. Similarly, some of the supervisors will also be doing it, but they wanted the student to come up with a different initiative, different plan. Those plan needs preparation from you. So that is what the life of the PhD students is. They are it's their project. It's not my project. It is their projects. Everything what they do, it is in their hand. That is your hand. Okay. Looking at the supervisors, another thing is supervision experience and the skills. Okay, these are all things you need to look for. That is why spending time to get the right supervisors is important. If you're ending up in the supervisors who are super busy, or some of the supervisors, they are taking students just for the promotion sake. So you need to make sure you have to end up in the right hands. For that, the preparation is important. And preparation is supervisor. I told you current research interest of the supervisors, supervision skills. The supervision skills is very important for a supervisor to get a successful student out. People management. The supervisor has to be a good in people management to get a right quantity of work. Getting a job out of you is not that easy, because we have to convince you. You have to be on toes with you, and then make sure that if you don't like it, you will not do it. So we have to make sure that you like the job to do. So there is a lot of things which we need to work on. The people management, patience is very important for the supervisor to make sure that, because PhD is like it's frustrating. Sometimes you get results, sometimes you don't get anything, sometimes you break things, so you have to fix things. So supervisor needs to have a patience to work with you and stay with you all the time. So it's a combination of good relationship you are going into it. And then the skills and mentoring, pastoral care. The COVID times, we do had quite a lot of pastoral care. And then presentation, supervisor will have amazing presentation skills. Student history. And also, see, there are two types of supervisors you can take. One, an experienced supervisors, or go for an early career supervisor. Early career supervisors is like, say for example, a lecturer who just got a lectureship position, and he has some wonderful publications, but he just joined as a lecturer at the starting. He or she would be a good place to start, because they wanted to grow. And those early career academics, they would be happy to take you if you have the right match, and they will really really work with you. Okay, and it would be an advantage for you and disadvantage for you as well, because sometimes they will impose their ideas to you. So it's a win-win case. In any way, you will be in a win case that you'll have your secured PhD with some good publications. Okay, the early career academics is also important. So choose a PhD supervisor who can dedicate the time, energy, and also do all these work. And supervision again, in case of supervisor, what they supervised on and who are they supervising? Are they supervising a balance between a girl and a boy, or a gender balance is there? And are they how many students they have supervised? Are they supervising more than one students in the same area? You have to think, if they are supervising more than one student in the same area and you are also putting the similar proposal onto him or her, then you have to clearly identify what novelty you are going to bring. If you say that, no, I am also wanted to work on wastewater treatment, I have another person working on that, why I need you? You have to clearly identify, I know that the person is working on this, I can bring this novelty. And that is what the professor is also looking at it. Okay, so you need to go for what is the different novelty you are bringing, what are the different methodologies you are bringing, what the skill set you are bringing, which is not there. So those are all the things you need to educate yourself. As I said, preparation takes time, but you need to prepare your CV, prepare your thought process in order to get into good admission. Then, an excellent indicator of the PhD supervisor is the number of students were completed in stipulated time. If it is 3 years or 4 years, if the student is able to complete in 3 to 4 years, that is a fantastic supervision with some good publications. And after the PhD supervision, if they are able to go to another postdoc positions immediately to outside him or within him or her, then it is a good sign of the PhD supervisor. Always remember, a very busy supervisor, I shouldn't put this, a very busy supervisor will have a less time for you. Okay, but he or she will support you in a different means through their postdocs or others. But make sure that even though you are getting a busy supervisor, if you're going into a busy supervisor, you need to be very, very articulative. See, you have to do the preparation. If you are having a PhD student, if you are going to be a student of a PhD supervisor, you need to do quite a lot of work to understand the concepts. If he or she going to give you time, you need to make sure that time is very well utilized. Okay, so those are all the things. And then finally, the feedback. Before you apply or contact the supervisor, see what the student feedback is. Okay, there could be more than one supervisor in your PhD specifically designed to give you various advices and suggestions. Ask the fellow students who worked with him how he is or how she is, and what type of work she is doing. Is he or she is have a good relationship, or can she be open to you, or he or she could be open to you? How the supervisor's quality is. Student will give a really honest feedback. And also you can ask the past students, because most of the supervisor will provide who are all their alumni, so you can see their alumni and contact them. Then they will give you some useful tips. Okay, try not to be overbearing, but don't afraid to ask questions. Okay, don't afraid to ask questions. There's no questions is stupid. Only you, I can, or the people who can give a stupid answer, but there's no questions are stupid. Okay, they're all the question is a question. Okay, next please. Okay, the personality is important. As I covered with these things, the personality of the supervisors is important. Having a good relationship. You can ask this question. Relationship is important. Go back.
Okay.
Yeah, relationship is important. What kind of personality you and your supervisor have? That means you can ask these questions to the what do you call the student or a fellow student who finished. And in a PhD supervision, it's a long journey. And during your as an aspirant of a PhD student, you may be thinking that you have some admiration or inspiration of some scientist. That is how you started. PhD is more of passion. So some people you on the walk of your thinking process you have admired and inspired. You may be able to relate whether my supervisor who I am choosing has that kind of attributes. If those attributes are there, your inspiration level will much higher, and the relationship will be much better. Okay, and that is what you need to look up of, and make sure that most of the supervisors, Western supervisors who I know, you can talk to them easily. They are very conducive, easygoing. And I don't know, I know that some of there is a different cultural there. I don't want to go into those debates, but the people who I know, that they are very easygoing. And the best, once you establish a relationship with supervisor, meeting is the best way to address what you wanted to convey. So arrange a meeting, if you possible in person or others, then you start expressing yourself. Right. I think it's close to 15-20 minutes I have been. So I will just give you a tip how to impress a PhD supervisors. So far I have been telling about the attributes of a good supervisors. Okay. I shouldn't use the word good. Attributes of a supervisors. Okay. How to impress a PhD supervisors. It is important that you also need to impress us. To be honest, I was, I recently we got a really big grant, and we are hiring about like two postdocs, that is after post PhDs. I got 175 applicants, 180 applicants for two positions. It's very difficult to shortlist. So we have to undergo a strenuous process. So we can clearly see the application who has done the excellent preparation for this position. So I think out of that, I be shortlisted 25 to 8, and then the 8 will be in 2 in few days time. Okay, so that much amount of, you are in the competition. Remember, it's nothing is easy here. You are in a competition. Preparation is very, very important. If you don't prepare well, I think you are in a soup. Okay. Preparation. What is the preparation you need? Be knowledgeable about your field. Do not leave any holes. Be knowledgeable and be honest and be knowledgeable in the field which you wanted to go. For that also you need to prepare. All supervisors want their students to be knowledgeable and high quality of work. I'm not looking for quantity. I'm looking for quality of work. And we do not expect to be an expert. Definitely we are not. I don't think we are experts either, because we are all learning. Life is a full of learning. So we are learning on the way every day. So there's nobody in this world can say that I am an expert in this field, because the field which we are working evolving continuously fast. Yesterday they talk about graphene, today they are talking about maxine, tomorrow they will talk about saxine. We never know. It is evolving, and we are just reading continuously, updating our knowledge. Okay. And as a student, have a long term plan. Why do you want to do PhD? Why do you want to do research? Those things will reflect in your email. Why do you want to research med? What do you want to do after completing this PhD? So those things you need to think through before you choose a supervisor and writing an email itself. And remember, PhD is an enormous commitment. You will go mad. Sometimes you will have a really good day. Most of the times you will have a bad day. And those bad days are good days. You don't know that, because that is a learning curve. You may think that, I don't get any result at all. Not getting any result is a result. Okay, that result you never know when it will be useful. So that is what, it's a enormous commitment. Have a really good clarity of thinking. Make sure you record. Those are all the things which we look at the supervisor. As a PhD supervisor, is the student will be methodological, is the student is knowledgeable, do they have a good practice? All this has to be seen in the covering letter or email. Okay, the supervisor needs to believe you have the capacity to finish. Okay, and then spend time in reading up the challenges in the areas you wanted to research. Do not say that I wanted to work on batteries. Everybody wants to work on batteries. I wanted to work on energy policy, or I wanted to work on commerce. Yeah, that's okay. That's a broad area. In which area of the commerce, or in which area of the materials, what are all the challenges are there, and how you will be able to address the challenges? If you are talking about specifics, that will attract my eyes. Okay. And then have a career goals, demonstrate awareness. Yeah, I read in this article, this would be really nice for me to do. I think I have the capacity to do. Say for example, I am during my master's degree I did electrochemistry, and electrochemistry I'm passionate towards that. This electrochemistry is involving in speeding up of reactions with catalysts, and I am a catalytic person or something. You have to frame in such a way that it attracts, and you are showing the examples, demonstrating the awareness. And put a project plan, simple plan, have a plan. So that will help you out in attracting, because these are all the ways which see from in my eyes what how we shortlist. And impressing a, this is okay, this is very important slide for writing an email or anything. When you are doing an email or any job applications, this is very important. Communicate very clearly what you want to communicate. Do not leave any ambiguity. I wanted to do this, can you please give me a position if it is possible? No, you should not please, no. You have to say that I am eligible to get this, and I would that is not with a humility, not with pride, with humility. You have to say that. Okay, and do the communication clearly. As I said, do your research on research in the sense of how, what is the supervisor is doing, all the things which I have discussed. Use a clear subject line. Do not give any ambiguity in the subject line. Clear subject line. Address them clearly. Say, for example, dear followed by supervisor. No, dear sir, leave it. Dear professor, say dear Professor Satheesh Krishnamurthy or dear Satheesh. Use the word clearly. Okay, so that the no ambiguity there, and make sure that you spell the supervisor's name correctly. Okay, some of them get really cross, they are not able to spell my name, or I don't want to even talk about it may look silly, but that's the world we are living in. Okay, and introduce yourself really well, and state your intentions clearly as well. When you're introducing yourself, state your intentions, why you are applying, what passionate, what brings you to PhD. So those things are all critical points. Then come back to your name, academic qualifications, level of experience. What is, these are all the things you need to build up in the letter. Okay, and then explain your research experience, topics of research. Why do you want to do research? Show that examples to him or her, that examples is the one which is going to carry you forward. And conclude really well by again reinforcing your enthusiasm. If you have all these ingredients, I'm pretty sure you will get a good response. Yeah, we look at the grades, because the track record is important. How well you are doing, and then that is also one of the key things. It's not the only thing we look at. Track record is not the only thing we look at. We also look at, but track record is essential. Okay, in defining, because if we have like 50 applicants, and those applicants coming up with different track record, we choose them accordingly.
Yeah. Someone is asking that I am someone who took 2 years career break for family care. Now I want to get back to work as my familiar responsibilities are relaxed. Will this be an issue in considering me? I have publications and I'm a researcher as well.
I don't think there would be any, we don't discriminate at all.
Okay. Um, there's another question saying that what is your research area, Prof?
My research area. So I work on different. Actually, I started as a nanomaterials person, and then now we broaden quite a lot. So we work on materials for solar cells, materials for batteries, and also we do recycling of batteries. We work on materials, photocatalytic material for wastewater treatment, and we also work on different hydrophobic surfaces. So we work on materials and materials functionalization. As you can see from here, nanoscale, energy, and surface engineering. So we have very top-notch facilities, including high-end XPS, very high resolution TEM, and then we can also do some device measurements. So we work on mostly on energy storage, energy harvesting, and wastewater management.
Okay. Another person is asking that is it possible to get a supervisor for sponsorship at the master's level?
Master's level, okay. I forgot to mention another very important thing. Glad that this question came. So listen, guys, the thing which is getting more and more difficult for international students who are aspiring to do PhD in Europe is the international studentship. international PhD studentship is diminishing and diminishing very fast. Okay, and very, very few people are ready to take international students because the amount of fee they have to pay for a studentship is very high. So do enough research before you apply. If there somebody has put international students, then the competition will be high. The preparation and process for the PhD studentship is very high. You have to do top notch. Then only you will get the studentship for a PhD in any international European or UK universities. Now, considering for the masters, uh, I don't know. I don't think you will get any full funding for masters because masters is the one they make money. The university makes money from you. So about three times the fee you have to pay. So maybe they will give you some 15% or 20% scholarships, but that is nothing actually. You will be end up paying quite a lot of three times the fee of the local student.
So someone is asking that, please, can I know if one can apply directly for PhD with an undergraduate degree?
Undergraduate degree. If it is an engineering undergraduate degree for 4 years, if you have studied, the possibilities are high, but provided you have a good research experiences or the experience which you are bringing has to match with what supervisors are there, then there is some possibility. But generally, they prefer masters because, as I said, PhD is a big commitment. So the supervisors can spend only limited number of time with the students. So they will expect you to be a bit independent. Okay, that's the reason why they are choosing master's student. But some supervisors they do check B Techs and B students if you have that good quality degrees and if you can show that you have a good track record and you are the person to do this research. Some PhD supervisors do take.
Yeah. Someone said I had queried on your project on photovoltaics, but couldn't apply because I did not have an IELTS exam. Do you accept any other certificates for English language? Is IELTS mandatory?
Um, Good question. So why I said it's a good question is because I don't know the answer. Okay. I know the answer is yes, IELTS is important. It is mandatory, but I don't know whether it will take TOEFL these days. Okay, they used to take TOEFL. Okay, but IELTS is about seven or something. So you can see all those qualifications, etc., in the advertisement itself.
So someone is asking that how many publications do you expect in an early stage researcher?
Mm. You mean to say that for applying for PhD?
Yeah.
I don't think you don't need to have any publication for applying for PhD. I don't think I will expect that. If I am a supervisor, it's a bonus. If you are there, yeah, it's a bonus, but I won't expect you to publish and then come back to me. But all I'm looking is the attitude to learning, and then there is a good fix, good match between us. That's all. I don't expect you to get publications, etc. No, if it is
Yeah.
there, it's a bonus.
Okay. So sorry. I should apologize that the system got hacked, but we are still expecting your questions. Those who have any questions, you can put in the chat box, and we'll be sure to give you an answer. So, Prof, somebody asked me sometime that they try to obviously like contact a supervisor. They've been trying to contact the person for so many times. The person is not getting through. Is there any specific time that they should send emails to supervisors? And is it also good to follow up with an email, and how many times, so that I wouldn't feel like they are budging the supervisor?
Right. You are asking the trade secrets. Right. So I will tell you the secret. Right. So when your brain will work very fast when you get up from the morning, right? And when you're going to bed, you will try to see that, yeah, there are things I need to respond. So always get your nice email for the person to see first thing in the morning before even he or she starts the work. If they are seeing the work, Then if it's really, say for example, I start the work at 8 o'clock in the morning. So when I see the first thing in the morning, oh, this is a fantastic email. Even though I start the work at 9, but I start seeing my email at 8. Okay, then I will see, oh, I will respond to this mail now, immediately, because my mind is fresh. There's no meeting coming up to me at 9 o'clock. After 9, one day I have the meeting. So I will start emailing. If you're sending in between at 2 o'clock or 10 or 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, even though I see the mail, you will put it in the standby. Okay, let us respond this later. It is interesting. So we'll put a flag. We have a flag. We'll put a flag there and put it there. And then after that, there are plenty of things will come. Unless you send me a reminder after 2 days, oh, I have to do this. See, thing is, there's nothing called annoying. There's no annoying because you wanted to get a good students and you wanted to get a good supervisor. So if the supervisor is really needs you, he will respond you. There's no annoying here at all. You can send a prompt after 3 days. I did send an email. Can you please have a response? If still I have not have a response, again send a message after 2 days saying that I did it. It won't annoy him at all, him or her, because you are showing your interest. That is more important.
Okay. So one of the aims of the questions as well is that if some supervisors have funding, so how would you be able to contact a supervisor has a funding? Is there a way or maybe a platform that we could get to know supervisors that have funding and obviously target them directly for any studentship?
So your question is, how do you know PhD supervisor has funding?
Yes, please.
Yeah, most of the time it will be advertised.
Okay.
It will be advertised most of the time. And the only time it won't be advertised is like, say, for example, you said you are annoying a PhD supervisor by sending like 3 or 4 emails. Then he does not have position. Then he or she will look at the applicant. Oh, okay, looks interesting. Looks showing a lot of commitment. Why can't I go out of the way to see whether I can scrape some money somewhere? That is where it starts. And then they will try to get some money, some funding for you.
Okay. So one last question. Okay, there's another one that is coming in as well, quite lengthy. But we'll take this one first. That what would you advise should be key in one's project plan?
Have clarity in your project plan, clear clarity, clear direction. This is what I am going to do. You do enough research work on the supervisor. What is what he or she is doing, and how my idea will fit in. So you can start. Say for example, I would like to do synthesis for the first 0 to 3 months, and then then I will learn some new characterization techniques, which I learned from master's degree, and I can do these characterization techniques. I have a good theoretical knowledge. So you give those carrots to the supervisors to bite. Okay, then that is a project part of the project plan. But doing before all these project plan, the supervisor will be able to give you the project plan itself once he or she responds to your email showing that you are interested. Then you can talk about all these plans subsequently, and they will be, once you are able to engage, then the relationship will carry on.
Okay. Someone is asking that I'm a first degree holder who wants to apply for a master's degree. How extensive must my research proposal be, especially in terms of research instrumentation and methodology?
Oh yeah, see, that's a very good question. Um, Master's degree, as I said before, that I'm not looking for a big research proposal. We should not do that at all, because if you're sending a big research proposal, you are overdoing it. Okay, it may also harm you as well. It's better to be more concise and have a good clarity of what exactly you want in a short sentences and how you fit into those particular clarity of the research work. So those things has to be important. And particular specific question is about the methodology and research instrument. So if you are bringing up an experience in research instrument and methodology, most of the supervisors will like it, because they don't need to spend time in training you or allocating resources to train you. So you will have a distinct advantage over the others because you already have the expertise of this. So you are slightly ahead, and this has to be there showing in the research interest with the covering letter which you write to the supervisor saying that I'm already equipped, I have this knowledge, and you have to show that as an example and demonstrate in the letter.
Okay. Um, Someone is asking that most supervisors have broad research areas. How do you find a specific area in their area of interest?
Right. Um, Another good question. I forgot to answer this actually. Usually I bring this phrase in talking to any other student, any other PhD aspiring student. This is one of my granddad told me when I was very 10 years or 12 years old when I was talking about research and PhD to him. So what is PhD? It's one of the question which I always ask myself. Now, PhD is nothing but knowing more and more about less and less. That's what we are. So you are. So even though the areas are broad, which you see, but there we are especially keeping it broad because that the spectrum which we are covering. Whereas as a PhD student, they will not work on a broad area. They will be working only on a focused area. That is what I said, knowing more and more. If you're asking about, I wanted to work on a 2D materials, two-dimensional materials, I will be working on 2D materials, doing more and more about 2D materials, going much deeper and deeper, how it is working, what are all the surface characteristics. If I put for surface functionalization, how the charge transfers are happening, how the valence band is shifting, how these valence band shifting will be representing the electronic and electrical properties. These are all many focused intricacies I'm talking about. Okay, so we will be talking that material will be fitting into the applied research. That is slightly a border one. Okay, so that's how we carry that. But all these things you can see from the PhD's supervisors website or publications. The publications will clearly tell. If the PhD supervisor is writing a lot of review, then he is not doing research, he's writing only reviews.
Hmm.
Okay, so you need to check whether the supervisor is writing a full papers and how many full papers to ratio to the reviews he or she is writing. That will also categorize you whether it is research active supervisors or review active supervisors.
Hmm. Yes, I'm learning a lot to be honest, Prof. Okay, so I think I'll take one last question, and if you have any questions, make sure you can send it to my DM, and I'll be sure to compile them as frequently asked questions. Whenever Prof has time, he can answer them, and we can release them one after the other. So the last question is that is writing detailed long emails um, advisable, or is better to write shorter emails?
Right. Um, it's not, I wouldn't say writing long emails or short emails. As long as you get the content right and the clarity right is very important. As I said, that if you, I think you, Luis, you are welcome to share the slides with the people whoever they asks. Okay.
Okay, I'll
So
do that.
content and the clarity is important. If you follow the profile, what I said is why you are doing this, what are you going to do this for, and what is there for you to define your goals, and why you bloody want to do PhD, why you can't do other things, because of the passion towards research, and why you wanted to do with me, because I like the way you are working, the publication active. You need to justify. Those are all the things which supervisor likes to see. Oh, okay, you are following me seriously, and then I can see that the passion is coming, so that engagement builds up. And then that doesn't matter whether, like, because if you're asking about the supervisors, yeah, the supervisors, our job is to read and write papers, etc., and get into ideas. So somehow we do appreciate seeing the long mails, but these long mails should be very focused and have some clarity, and also has a message. Every sentence you write has to have a message, not just like that I am interested in doing PhD. That doesn't mean like anything. Thousands of people writing to me like I am interested in PhD, but why they are interested in PhD they won't write. I'm interested in PhD because I like to do PhD. I did masters in this. Can I get a position from you? No, I want you because I won't. Because like this, there are 20, 30, or 100 people are writing the same messages to me. So how am I able to identify you are good? So get into that habit of doing research about supervisor and then write. If your research is more likely to be a laboratory experiment that is new to a prospective student, how best must the
Must
research
the research methodology be
be
in
written?
in the proposal be written?
Asking you to write a research proposal in your covering letter to the supervisor. You shouldn't do that, because if you do that, then you are overdoing it, and that can be seen in the letter. You have to be honest to yourself first. Can I have seen, you can say that I have seen this instrument, I have seen this, what are all the things it is bringing to me in the labs, so I would like to work in this instrument because of these reasons. Then the PhD student supervisor will believe you. You don't need to put the things which you don't know and pretend it can be easily seen. So don't do that. Always a honest, passionate letter will attract the supervisors, rather than they can find out, because we are doing this long bread and butter. We can easily find out who has the experience and who does not have the experience. These days, the research is interdisciplinary. Okay, and interdisciplinary is really interdisciplinary. So the project which we are working now, which needs to be, if we are going to uh, make a product out of this particular research technology which we are foreseeing, that needs some business models, that needs some policies. So we are always open to different ideas, and if I am not going to do this policy, I will ask my other colleague who is working on policy. I will tell him that, why don't you take him? Then we will do the interdisciplinary research. There's always a possibility in thinking, but all the possibilities has to come from you, because it is your degree, your project. This is not my project. If you ask if you ask my students, I spend time with my students, but I won't give all my ideas to my students, because it is their project degree and they have to come up with the novelty. It is yours in the end. When you PhD has to be earned, not to be given to you. When you finish, you have to earn. You have to show the novelty, and you have to show that commitment. Okay. And always I say that, bring your positive energy, man. You have plenty of energy with you. God has given you plenty of energy. Sun is the source of energy. If the sun says that I wanted to go blind, then nobody will get light, right? So
Yes.
you are yourself a source of energy. Always be positive. You can do. If you can't do, who else can do? So have that positivity and the drive. I am sure you can do millions.